Hello everyone, I hope you are doing great. You are watching Rishi Susla There here. Today we have our first episode of the interview experience series and we have with us Mr. Aditya Lata who is an incoming software developer at SAP Labs India. He has also interned at SAP Labs last year. So let's hear what he has to say to us.
Welcome, Aditya, to this show. Thanks a lot for accepting my invitation. It's a great thing to have you here. So, let me introduce to you Aditya once again. Aditya is an incoming software developer at SAP Labs India, and he has also interned at SAP Labs India last year. So, hi, Aditya.
Hello Rishikesh, it's nice to be at your channel. Maybe this is my first YouTube video, so I'm a bit nervous, but yeah, I think I'll be good.
It's okay, it's great. So, okay, so let's begin with our first question. Let's not waste time. So I'd like to know when did you start coding? Like when did you actually get into coding?
So I'll just answer this question in brief. So a lot of people who come to tier two or tier three colleges have been the people who tried for IITs but could not get through. And then fortunately, I had the intuition that rather than settling for a electrical or a sub branch at any of the IITs or NITs, I prefer to be at a computers or an IT degree at VJTI. So when I was preparing for my IITs, the integrated program only had the option for taking electronics. Though I
Hmm.
wanted to be at computers, but there was no option to choose computers. So my 11th and 12th, they went with electronics. Uh,
Okay.
first year, first year into VJTI, and I was into IT. But basically, I knew nothing about computers, nothing about any of the programming languages, how they work, not even about what a variable is. Yeah, so that's where I began. First year into VJTI, I was more into robotics. By the end of the first year, I got to know about yeah C, C++, and some of our brilliant seniors. Seniors were the one who actually taught me coding. So
Exactly.
I can say I began coding by second year. The first year went entirely into actually getting to know and taking the baby steps into coding. By the
Okay.
second year, we had multiple projects in the summer vacation. So our seniors were good enough to actually motivate us for not wasting our summers and actually working on some projects. So there were two of societies. There was SRA and there is COC at VJTI.
COC. Yeah.
SRA kept a summer program, which was Eklavya, and COC
Exactly.
kept Inheritance. And that was when we began actually working with projects. That was the first time, and yes, that I can say that that was my first hands-on coding experience.
A very similar story of mine also. Like I also started my coding journey with COC and SRA. So like we have a lot in common. So it's great to have you as my first interview experience. So yeah. So moving ahead. So why don't you tell us how did you prepare for your internship at SAP Labs? Like what did you look into? What resources did you check out for the interviews?
Okay, so the hype about VJTI. Right before choosing VJTI, we had the option to either choose UAP or any of the good colleges in Maharashtra.
Hmm.
But the entire thing, which I think a student comes at VJTI, is all about placement. So right from the beginning, the very thing which was and which is at the minds of almost all the students coming to VJTI is placement. So yeah, we knew almost everyone had it in their minds that yeah, there will be internship interviews right at the beginning of the third year. So after second year, when we started actually studying the computer subjects, uh, I used to go through articles as to how interviews will be, what kind of questions will be asked, and that was when we began with data structures.
Hmm.
So I remember in the second year I used to actually focus and I really liked the data structures and algorithms as a subject. Uh, for the preparations part, I began really with this. YouTube channel which was by the name, I don't remember the name.
My code school.
Yeah, it was My Code School. My Code School was very good introduction to data structures. Uh, the the graphics were really good. After that, I straight away jumped to Geeks for Geeks.
Hmm.
Geeks for Geek articles are by far the very thing which I know, and it is almost complete. I don't think for the basics you need anything other than Geeks for Geeks. Uh, Remaining is the practice part. So for the practice part, I did not do as much of competitive coding because uh, a lot of my friends, there was a lot of hype around competitive coding. There were people who used to go crazy about this
Yes.
uh, monthly challenges and weekly challenges. I was not the kind of student who used to go crazy about competitive coding. There were people who were prepping for ICPC back from
Yeah.
first to second year, but I did not get the hype of competitive coding. So just for the practice, I used to go to interview bit or lead code, and I think that was more than enough. If
Exactly.
you uh, For anyone who is listening to this, uh, I think it is perfectly fine if you're not too much into competitive coding. You can do fairly enough in any of the interviews. The only thing which is required is problem solving. So if you can do that via projects and if you have analytical skills, there's not much need of uh, the need might be a wrong word, but yeah, it's not like that
Dire
those
need,
guys who do
dire
not.
need of competitive coding.
Yeah, so it is not compulsory that you do competitive coding and only then you can crack internship interviews. It's not like that.
Exactly. So, yeah, like that's the thing. Like, a lot of people go behind coding like crazy. And yesterday only I read an article. He's a like great influencer on LinkedIn. He told me like it was Akshay Saini. Yeah. So he in his article he said ki there are many coders who come to the interviews who are just coders who can just solve a coding problem, but they can't communicate their ideas. They can't solve real life problems. And trust me, like when you work in a product based company, it's not just like solving a CodeChef's level 7 problem. No, it's more than that. Like you have to collaborate with people. You have to convey your ideas properly. And yes, like logic development is required, but it's not the whole idea of software development. So
Exactly.
yeah.
So it is not. It is when you go into a company and you actually start working with a project. That is when you realize that getting things done, get even if it involves using an API. Using an API is not a big deal. Writing a few lines of code and you use someone else's functionality. But even getting that done can make a project work. It is not
Exactly.
that you exactly need to know square root decompositions to solve product level problems. So yeah,
Yes.
it is fine if you don't. If you're good at competitive coding, it's very good. You are at a higher, you have a better chance of qualifying an interview. But ahead of that, that I don't think there will be much of a difference between a person who doesn't do competitive coding and the one who does.
Yes. So yeah. So let's move on to the next question. So Aditya, why don't you tell us about your interview experience? Like how was your actual interview? So according to my knowledge, you gave your interview for the SAP internship, and from there you only got the PPO from SAP Labs. So why don't you tell how was your interview at SAP Labs?
Okay, so right at the beginning, I guess 1 week into third year, and we had all the notice boards up with, this company is coming, this is coming. And the very first time I saw the SAP Labs brochure, the uh, job application form, JAF, literally, I didn't know what SAP is. I used to call it SAP or something like that. The basic reason why this happens is SAP is a B2B company.
Hmm.
B2B is business to business. So they sell their products to businesses. Because it's not a customer product, most of the people don't know about SAP.
Yes.
So yeah, when SAP came to our campus, I didn't know much about it. We just went we registered for the online test, and I remember it was a 75-minute test. There were some 25 MCQs, and there were three coding questions. And I think there were around 200 people who had attempted that test, 200, 250. And I remember by midnight, the same day, we got a shortlist for 9 people who were selected for interviews the very next day. So the MCQs were around Java, C++, DBMS. So the MCQs were around basic questions about Java, hoops concepts, and there were questions on which you have to predict what would be the output to the code, or
Hmm.
things like that. So, and there were three coding questions, and I remember I had done almost one and a half question, and I was shortlisted.
Okay.
There were some medium difficulty questions, simple to medium. One was on graphs, and other two were basic arrays or stack questions. Uh, the very next day, we had interviews, and for the interns, it is a 3 round interview.
Hmm.
There are two technical rounds and one HR round, and each of the round is an elimination round. So
Okay.
there were candidates who were eliminated after each round. So in the first round, I was asked a lot of questions about uh, basically OOPS concepts. So the difference between functional programming, OOPS,
Hmm.
abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism. Uh, that was the basic, but a lot of questions were around actually writing the code,
Hmm.
the concepts about languages, and there were also questions on databases, because we had done databases in our second year.
Yeah.
So there were questions about writing queries in SQL, SQL, and a few questions on algorithms as well. There were some questions on memory implementation and languages as well. So that was the programming technical round
Hmm.
in the, and there were 2 rounds about it. But the thing is, SAP makes sure that everyone is asked the same number of questions, because they had maintained a sheet, and each
Okay.
sheet I had seen there was a grid. So for there was a section for say DBMS, there was a section for OOPS, there was a section for projects. So, and the interviewer had to give marks based on each of those sections. So for the based on the cumulative score, I guess they were shortlisting candidates to the next round. So it is for made sure that each candidate is asked all kind of questions. I can talk about this because I was also the TPO, or the training and placement coordinator at my college. So although I've given only 3 or 4 interviews in my life, but I've seen a lot more interviews because my friends were giving those. So in many companies, I've seen that it depends on the interviewer. An interviewer will go on asking questions about one domain and might completely skip another domain. But it is not the case here. Even if you are good at one and you are not good at the other, it is made sure that you are asked questions based on all the subjects. And in
Acha. So, like in all, we can say that the internship interview is more like revolving around your basics of the topics such as DBMS, data structures, languages, and object-oriented programming. Just the basic. Like they don't go into the core, hardcore implementation. They just like focus around the basics of these topics.
Yeah, so maybe say in OS they'll ask about multi-threading and synchronization. So if I don't remember, as I can't think of what it is now, but back in second year, just into third year, they were kind of maybe difficult at times, or you don't know. So yeah, back then it was kind of difficult interview, but today if I see it won't be as difficult. But yeah, back then it was difficult because I remember there were questions about normalization as well.
Hmm.
There were other questions. For example, if you say Java, so this is one tip I would like to give to people who are seeing this interview. Never lie on a resume. because resume is one thing that will that is the flow of your interview. The first thing the interviewer sees when you go into the room is your resume. So if you mentioned that you know Java, so I had written that I was familiar with Java and C++. So that is what the interviewer will pounce on. If I had written C++, he'll ask me a lot of questions. So I remember I was asked a lot of questions about pointers, friend functions, inheritance. There were questions because I'd written I knew Java. There
Hmm.
were a lot of questions based on interfaces,
Wow.
and frankly, I was not very sure back then because pointers are always deadly. You can never say for sure that you completely can master these topics.
So you should
So
be honest in your resume. That's one important thing. You should
yeah,
not cheat at all.
yeah, because if you are writing something, you should you should know that if you write something and you cannot bluff over there that yeah I just wrote it for the sake of it. You will definitely be asked questions. I remember I had done a very small regression project on machine learning.
Hmm.
So uh, back then, second year is just the beginning. Back then, there was no deep learning.ai course on Coursera as well. I remember those days, Andrew Ng had just one course on Coursera, and that was a summary of almost all the courses back then. I had done that, and I had done a simple regression project. Uh, but yeah, I was even asked questions based on that. I was asked about gradient descent and what are the activation functions. So yeah, if you write anything on a resume, be super sure that you can be asked questions and counter questions based on that.
Yeah, so exactly, guys. So you should not at all cheat about what you know and what you don't know in your resume, because the interview will surely catch you. And if by mistake you mention a topic that you're not that confident and the interviewer catches that thing, he will grill you like anything. So you should always be honest in on your resume. So moving
Because
ahead,
because
Aditya.
student
Yeah, yeah.
yeah
Go on.
because there can be a misconception that yeah I can impress a interviewer by naming tech words or
Yes, yes,
hot words.
exactly.
But if you are slightly weak in one topic, the interviewer knows you only for 20 or 30 minutes. The overall impression of your will go down very badly.
Yes, exactly the same thing, because the interview has an experience of tens of years and you have just started with, like, most of the people have started with coding around 3 4 years back. So he obviously knows a lot more things than you. So you should never think about cheating or mentioning something that you're not confident and not good as you think you are. So that's the one important thing that you should always remember. So moving ahead, Aditya, how was your internship at SAP Labs? I heard they have a great campus in Bangalore.
Yeah. So I remember you and a lot of my friends, they actually
Yeah, we
used to
had
come
come,
to my
we had
yeah,
come to your campus. It was a great
yeah,
campus indeed.
yeah, sure. And coming from a person who has worked at Amazon, that is really a compliment. So yeah, SAP has a great campus, a great work-life balance, and a culture. They have one GPTW, Great Place to Work, consecutively for the last 2 years. So yeah, there is no bluffing about how the work culture is.
Hmm.
There is no communication gaps as such. You can actually I had this problem of calling people by sir or ma'am for the first 2 or 3 days. It was very
Every one
difficult
of
to
us faced that
get
issue.
you yeah, it really gets difficult to get used to the culture, but once you're used to it, you will really enjoy it because there is no communication barrier as such. You can I used to actually talk to the chief operating officers of SAP Labs at least 4 or 5 times during my tenure at SAP. So yeah, it is a great place to work. There are no restrictions as such. There won't be any college like stuff where as in you have to mark your attendance or you have to be present at desk for these number of hours or you have to fill some Excel sheets. There's nothing like that. There will be a few meetings which you have to attend with your mentor. A buddy is assigned as well, which is practice in most of the companies. They will assign you projects, and the projects won't be vague as well because I knew and I had communicated back then with most of my co-interns, and most of the projects are on a good technology stack. You name it and they have it. I had worked on three projects in my internship. uh, One was on NLP, one was on Alexa, which is by Amazon as well. One was on so one was on IoT, the third one. So you name it, they have it. You can work on as many, and the liking of your skills. You just mention what you are good at, and most often than not, you will be mapped to a team wherein your skills will be utilized, and the projects are also meaningful. They won't go into a cupboard wherein they keep the interns project for that year. uh, Mostly they will make sure that you get a feel of what working in a product company is like. So yeah, this is one another tip I would like to give to the people who are listening to this. Just like while choosing a branch when you're out of 12th standard, uh, when a, choosing a branch was as important, uh, at the time of placement, choosing a company is also as important. There will be many companies to your offer, but I'd say beginning your career with a product company will be very helpful, because you get hands-on experience through the entire life cycle of a product, and you will surely be overwhelmed with the amount of technology and the work that goes in, but the learning curve will be huge. So you get to learn a
Exactly.
lot. Huh. So, for example, if you, I'd not take names, but if you start working for a consulting company, so rather than making calls to a company and just uh, working out a small functionality, what a product company gives you is the entire ownership of the product you're building. So the product you build, you define it, you develop it, you give it for code reviews, you get back the code, you improve upon it, you add features, and then you get to know what all goes in before a product goes into production.
The sense
So
of
yeah, that
ownership is also a thing that you get in a product-based company. You feel that you have made something, and the thing is actually uh, putting an impact into the society.
exactly.
So yeah, it's a great to hear about your experience. Like I'm sure you had a great time there, and you're eagerly waiting to go there and join again with your teams. But due to COVID, I guess your joining is through a work from home location only, I guess.
Yeah, I'll be
Okay,
missing the campus a lot.
same here.
That used
So
that used to be our second home when we were interns. We used to
exactly.
be
So
exact.
yeah. Like during our internship we used to stay at like most of the time we used to stay at our offices because they used to be much cooler and much nicer than our PGs. So like they had a lot of facilities like 24-hour Wi-Fi, AC, good food, cafeterias and lots of things. But in PG everything is sucks, to be short. So yeah, but
See, you
okay.
get
So
a good feeling because if the company takes care of you, you get a feeling of giving back to it.
yeah,
If the company treats you well, because the perks you mentioned, they were present. So when a company treats you like that, work doesn't seem like work anymore. So yeah, because I remember I used to, I'm the kind of person who used to work at odd hours, because if you say I start working at 9 a.m., that's not my thing. I'm a night kind of person. So there are no restrictions. I remember there were times when I used to come back at my home at around 2 a.m., 3 a.m. There are no restrictions. You come in at your time, you go home at your time. Just get the work done as per your wish, and that's what matters.
that's great. That's great to hear. Like a company being so flexible, giving you so much of freedom, giving you so much of facilities, amenities, and such a it's such a joyous place to work. I can just like can't wait to come again to visit your workplace again. So it's a great thing to hear. Like moving to the last section, like any word of advice or tips that you would like to give to the upcoming uh, like like upcoming students who are like willing to go get into product based companies or getting into product based internships or anything like that.
Uh, so one of the key things which I'd like to just say is I am the person who used to struggle at pointers. I'm not the person who has a very high pointer at any stage of my semesters. I was barely managing eight. I used to struggle at eight. But even if it is less than that, I'd say work on your skills, work on your interest. Pointers will just take you past the doorstep of that coding interview.
Mhm.
Ahead of that, it is you who carries yourself. I've seen a lot of people who have great pointers, but they did not make it as well. And maybe, I don't know, there are people I've seen who, they lack confidence because their pointer is low. So I would like to say pointer is just a number. If you're confident of your skills, you will make it uh, very well. Uh, Ahead of your college, nobody just asks for your pointers or your subjects. It is your code and your work that speaks. So yeah, that is one thing. Don't focus too much on your pointers. Yeah, just maintain it well so that you can actually appear for the interviews. But work on your skills and your interests. If your interest is in coding, well and good. But even if it is something else, it is there is no barrier. You can work on anything you like. And the second thing which I wanted to tell my juniors who are currently interning or might intern in the future, but looking at the current scenario, uh, be very skeptical, I'd say, because uh, Rishikesh, let's be honest, we have seen the current scenario, and there are companies who
Exactly.
are very reluctant of hiring, and we have news of hiring freezes at multiple places. So yeah, the times are difficult. There's no denying. So yeah, there will be opportunities for sure, and those who have talent will succeed for sure. There is no depression. There was a 2008, there was 2002, and people overcame. But this is difficult times, and I'd say, given any opportunity, I'd say please grab it as of now because times are difficult, and there are no fortune tellers. So yeah, we all are expecting to for COVID to end as soon as possible, but there are no fortune tellers over here. So prepare for the worst and hope for the best. That's it.
Exactly. Like these are difficult times. So like don't go for the it's okay if you get a package which is around less than your expectations, because seeing the current scenario, getting a job is very much important than getting a good job. So I'm not saying ki, like settle for a very like poor company or service based company. Try your best, try to get into a good product based company. But if you can't get into a tier one product based company, it's okay if you land into a good startup, if you land into a good another product based company. So at this stage of time, I'll suggest don't look at the packages a lot. Just look at the company culture, if it's a good company, if it's a good place to work at, and work there for at least 1 or 2 years. Then you can obviously switch and move ahead. And as another thing is the pointers, like don't kill yourself over pointers much. Even I don't have that much of great pointer. Like after, like in the final year is my best year in terms of pointers. So that was like completely a fluke kind of thing. But trust me, pointers don't matter that much. Like no one asks you about your pointer. They'll ask you how's your code working, or what's the complexity of your code. They'll ask you these things. So pointer is just like a basic criteria that you need to crack and then move ahead. But don't stress yourself over keen. No, I need to get a 10 plus 9 plus pointer or 10 pointer only. I don't think that matters a lot when it comes to companies. And yeah, so that's it.
Yeah,
And
and building upon the point where Rishikesh raised, uh, there are people I've seen that usually it is the human tendency to judge a company by the package it offers. So
yes,
I'd say the number isn't just a comparison factor, because I used to be like that once in a while. We used to go crazy about the numbers which a bank is offering, but I'd say go beyond the numbers. There are a lot of things that uh, cover up the numbers. For example, if you talk about only the numbers which company displays, there are a lot of things behind that. For example, there will be stock options, so there will be bonuses which are spread over years. So these
exactly.
things inflate a package, and you know you may get misled. So go beyond the numbers, and numbers aren't the only thing. There may be a company which offers a lot more of money, say per month is it is offering really offering the amount it promised. But if the work culture is not satisfactory, and if you are working your asses off, there's no point in actually sacrificing
Exactly.
your life. There needs to be a balance. If you cannot give time to your life, uh, what would you do of the money you own? And COVID has taught us this thing more than anything else. So yeah, take care of yourself as well. Yeah, work hard but play hard as well.
Yes, so keeping a proper balance between work and life is as much as important as having a good job. So don't just run behind the numbers. Choose a company which has a good work-life balance, a good environment, a place where you'll get to learn. Like, okay, like it's okay, like you need money to like have a good life, but your first priority should be you should be able to learn good things. You should be able to interact with people who have great knowledge, who have great insights, who have great future insights. So that's what should be your goal. Money will always come in the software industry. It's not going anywhere. So it was a great session, Aditya. Thanks a lot for accepting my invitation. I hope you guys you like this session. If you want to know, like if you have any doubts or things that you would like to suggest me or ask anything to Aditya, I'll tag Aditya's LinkedIn profile in the description. You can connect with him. Also, if any feedbacks or anything that you would like to say, please let me know in the comment section. Thanks a lot for seeing this video, and soon I'll be releasing my second video also of this series. So have a great day. Thanks a lot for watching this video, and bye. Before you leave, there's one more thing that I would like to tell you. Aditya also runs a great travel and a food blog with the name of The Ticking of Dreams. So do check out that website and the Instagram page. I'm mentioning the links in the description. And this is the final bye.